Hey guys, Adam Trigger here, wagertalk.com. It is Tuesday. We're talking Major League Baseball. But first, I want to talk to you about a special that we have running at the site. It's 7 days of all access for just $77. I've got three sports going right now: MLB, WNBA, KBO. You get everything for all 7 days. And you get my 4% best bet tonight. I am 11-2 in my last 13 baseball plays. Another nice winner last night with the Brewers. And I've got another 4% MLB best bet tonight that will obviously be included on that 7-day special, along with any 5% plays over the next week. So head on over, check that out, like and subscribe here. But today we're going to talk about a free play, a total in one of the later games out west. So we're heading to San Diego, Padres A's. I guess like when I watched this Padres team, I was involved in their games a couple of times last week. And, they went from not being able to buy a hit against the Angels to breaking out for 23 runs on Friday and Saturday against the Diamondbacks, to then getting blown out on Sunday. And then last night's series opener, they got to 6 runs, but kind of tacked three of them on late. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not fully sold on the Padres offense being like back or being a team that you can rely on to score runs at this point. Fernando Tatis is hotter than the sun. He's hitting 394 during his 16-game hitting streak, but that's expected, right? Like, I would say that the Padres are always priced as if Fernando Tatis is hitting the ball. He's one of the superstars in the game. It's the rest of the lineup that I'm not sure that they're just an offensive juggernaut yet. Just because they were able to like blow up a couple of Diamondbacks pitchers that were kind of due for bad starts, and then of course Arizona was kind of running out of bullpen guys at that point over the weekend. Here they're going to run into JP Sears, who's a guy I really like. I think I've said this on record a few times this year. He's the one guy in this starting rotation that I've typically looked to back. Obviously, backing the A's is no easy thing, but there's been a few spots where it's been, a good spot to back Sears and the A's. He's got a 3.93 ERA. His whip is 1.09, which is elite for starting pitchers. The last 3 starts, he's gone 6 innings or more. Last time out, 8 strikeouts against the Mariners. I mean, he's a guy that when he's on at this point is as good as it gets. I mean, he can be very dominant. And I wouldn't be surprised in this ballpark if he had another pretty good start. I know he's going on 4 days rest, and you'll see that floating around today. Oh, well, his numbers this year on 4 days rest aren't great. But in my opinion, that's a small sample size. Sears is legit. He's as legit of a starter as you're going to come across, in the American League at this point. So the way I'm looking at this game, the total, looking toward the under, I know I'm getting JP Sears on one side. That's a good place to start. On the other side, we've got Randy Vasquez. He's someone that I've talked about extensively. I've followed him in his career through the minors, and we actually did a video on this game last week, on his start last week against the Diamondbacks. And, I have reason to believe that he's starting to figure it out a little bit, that he might continue to pitch better. Last week against the Diamondbacks, he settled in and made it into the 7th inning, 6.2 innings pitched and just 3 runs on 6 hits. Left the game with 2 outs in the 7th inning. So a really good start for him. This is a guy that the Padres traded for in the Juan Soto deal. They wanted him. There was probably a reason for that. And I'm wondering if we're starting to see, that come to fruition. He throws a lot of different pitches. He's not someone that is going to overpower anyone. He's not going to rack strikeouts up, but he does throw a pretty, like 5-6 different pitches. And it seems like he's starting to mix them up correctly. And he's had some good results. He was effective the start before against the Royals. Again, not anything crazy, but he went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, but had his team in the game. And I think you may see him continue to, build on that and pitch well. And, the A's are not the team that I expect to blow him up at this point. If he's going to get hit, it's going to be by a good lineup. The A's just aren't a good offensive team. And I actually think their numbers are a little bit inflated by the fact that they somehow have played to a 26-42 record, which if you look at this roster top to bottom is incredible. that they've won 26 games. And then second, they've hit the ball out of the ballpark a ton, which has basically been all of their offense. Like they're up there in the top 10 in Major League Baseball in home runs, yet they average 3.6 runs per game, which is second worst in Major League Baseball behind the White Sox. The only team averaging less runs per game right now than the A's is the Chicago White Sox, who everyone is on the bandwagon that they're not a good baseball team. The A's, 43 games this year, they've scored 3 runs or fewer. That's number one in Major League Baseball. And right now, in their losses, they're just not hitting at all. Their last 9 losses, they've lost 9 of their last 12 games. So 3-9 over their last 12. In the 9 losses, they're hitting a $1.19, a $1.13 with runners in scoring position. So they don't get the timely hit. They don't string hits together. Their offense typically comes from a home run or two. And, they're just not a team that's producing a ton of runs, especially when they run into a starting pitcher that throws a half-decent game, which is what I think Vasquez could do here. Now, the way that the A's have gotten to 26 wins this year has been getting a lead and holding a lead. The A's have been phenomenal when they have a lead this year. A big reason for that, they have one of the best, they probably have the best relief pitcher on planet Earth right now in Mason Miller. And when they can get him the ball, it's almost a done deal that it's going to be a win at the end of the game. And it's been their formula for wins. Get ahead, keep the lead, and win a low-scoring game. That's how most of their wins have happened this year. And so on the A's side, you've got J.P. Sears, who's been as good as anyone at getting the ball to the bullpen with the lead. On the Padres side, you have Vasquez, who's a guy that I think is on the incline in terms of starting to pitch better. And all the top relievers really should be available after, especially on the A's side, after losing 6-1 last night. So this total is 8. There was 7 runs in last night's game, 6 of them scored by the Padres. I'm kind of seeing something similar. Actually, I think this is probably a more competitive game. I was enticed by the Padres being down. They're only at minus 150, minus 155. But personally, I don't want to go against Sears. So I think the way to play this game is the under. I would have made this line 7.5, maybe even 7.5. So I think at under 8, you're actually getting some line value. And this has low scoring, sort of boring, well-pitched game written all over it to me. I think you're going to get something like 4-2, 3-2. If the Padres win, they could win another game 5-0 or a 6-1 like last night. But I'm not seeing the offensive outburst here. Unless Vasquez pitches terrible, which again, then I would just be wrong because I think he's going to throw a pretty good game here. And I think Sears is going to give you the professional effort that he's been giving time in and time out. So free play today. A's, Padres, under 8. And again, I have a 4% MLB best bet. I'm 11-2 on my last 13 MLB best bet plays. So grab that at Wager Talk and check out that 7-day special, 7 days for just $77, also up on my page. Hope everyone has a great Tuesday.